You can take magnesium, cut caffeine by noon, wear blue light glasses, and still lie there with your brain rehearsing tomorrow's problems like it's already morning. If that's happened to you, it's not because you're missing the right supplement. Most people think sleep starts when your head hits the pillow. Neuroscientists see it differently. Your brain begins preparing hours earlier, and the final hour matters more than the final 5 minutes. In the next few minutes, 5 tiny evening shifts that rewire how your brain transitions from active to rest. No gadgets, no 10-step rituals. And stick around because the third shift is the one almost everyone skips, and it's usually why the others don't work.
Switch 1. Close tomorrow's open loops. Psychologists call it the Zeigarnik effect. Your brain keeps uncompleted tasks active in memory long after work ends, constantly pinging for attention. That's why you can be physically exhausted, yet mentally wide awake. Most people try to solve this by thinking harder in bed, but that's like asking an overheating computer to open more software. Instead, spend 2 minutes on a brain dump before you wind down. Write down every incomplete task and unanswered question. You don't need a solution, you need a parking spot. When your brain sees a thought has been captured externally, the tab closes. Those 2 minutes can save you 40 minutes of staring at the ceiling. But even when today's tasks are parked, your brain can resist shutting down if it doesn't trust that tomorrow is handled.
Switch 2. Give your future self a starting line, not a starting gun. Research on decision fatigue shows your brain begins processing tomorrow's micro decisions the night before. What to wear, what to eat, whether to tackle the hard project first. Psychologists call this anticipatory processing, and it's a hidden driver of restlessness. If tomorrow holds too many unknowns, your brain treats sleep like a risky state. It won't let go of the wheel if the road needs immediate navigation. The fix is simple. Before your evening ends, make one single decision for tomorrow. Choose your outfit, set out the coffee mug, place your keys by the door. You're not trying to be highly organized, you're sending a signal that tomorrow's beginning is handled. When your nervous system trusts that waking won't demand problem solving, it finally gives you permission to stop preparing. But permission only comes if your brain feels safe enough to become unconscious.
Switch 3. Create a certainty anchor. Your brain sleeps when it feels safe enough to become unconscious, not simply when it's tired. Sleep is evolutionarily vulnerable. Today, the news never stops. Your phone never closes. Without a clear boundary, your nervous system stays in low-grade monitoring mode all night. That's why this shift isn't about relaxing muscles. It's about giving your brain a reliable cue that the day is definitively complete. Lock your door and say the same phrase every night. Set your phone to do not disturb and place it in a drawer. Close your laptop with an intentional snap. What matters is that it's identical every night, marking a clear border between active and protected time. Behavioral scientists call this stimulus control. Over time, that anchor becomes a switch your nervous system learns to trust. Once your brain trusts the boundary between day and night, there's another pattern worth addressing.
Switch 4. Stop treating the evening like a recovery session. Most advice treats the evening as a repair bay for the day's damage. You rest because you're exhausted. You scroll because you finally can. But this creates a subtle problem. Your brain begins to associate evening with depletion rather than transition. There's a concept called behavioral momentum. Once you complete an action, your brain becomes more willing to continue similar actions. Passive consumption doesn't wind you down. It shifts into a lower gear while still running. That's why 2 hours on the couch can leave you unrested. Instead, finish your day with one tiny, meaningful action on your own terms. Not work, not obligation. 1 page of a novel, 3 sentences in a journal. The goal isn't productivity, it's psychological ownership. When your last action is something you chose, your brain stops feeling like the day happened to you, which leads to the final shift.
Switch 5. End the day with a specific instruction. Most people fall asleep hoping they'll feel rested, but hope isn't a signal your brain understands. What it understands is anticipation. Your brain constantly guesses what comes next based on its final input. If the last thing you process is worry, it predicts tomorrow requires vigilance. Before you close your eyes, give your brain one concrete prediction about tomorrow morning, not a wish, an instruction. I'll make coffee and sit by the window for 5 minutes before I touch my phone. Or I'll notice 3 things I'm grateful for before checking messages. You're giving your prediction machine a job that points towards safety. Research shows that what you anticipate before sleep shapes your first emotional state upon waking. That's why this shift takes 30 seconds and no physical effort. You're updating your brain's forecast before it spends all night processing the old one.
If you notice something about these 5 shifts, it's this. None require special equipment. None demand an hour. None ask you to force relaxation. They work on one principle. Your brain doesn't struggle with sleep because it forgot how to rest. It struggles because it's still protecting you from a day that hasn't fully ended. Open loops make it keep working. Uncertain mornings keep it alert. Missing boundaries make it monitor for threats. Passive evenings make it feel defeated. Empty predictions make it default to worry. That's not a broken brain. It's a vigilant one. The goal isn't to override it with willpower or sedate it with pills. It's to give your brain evidence that the day is complete, tomorrow is handled, and the story is finished.
So tonight, don't try all 5. Pick the one that felt most relevant. Close one loop, set out one thing, create one anchor, complete one small action, update one prediction. Practice it until it's automatic, then add another. Small shifts rarely transform your sleep overnight, but they quietly change the direction your brain takes crossing into the next day. If this actually gave you something you can use tonight, that's the only reason to hit like and subscribe. Not because I'm asking, because it means the next video like this is worth making. See you in the next one.